okay, Greenwell, and I'm going to teach you the rules of intestacy. So these are the laws about what happens to someone's estate when they die. So all of their possessions, their house, all of their assets, their money, everything. So this is what happens. Now the first thing that comes along is the will. Now the best advice I can give to anyone that's got actual tangible assets is write a will. Do it, because you can come across so many horror stories of people that don't write a will, and then there's loads of people trying to get what's theirs from the estate. So write a will, okay? Now, what happens when someone dies without a will? So, it would go to their spouse or their civil partner. So if you were legally married to someone and you died without a will, which is called dying intestate. Dying intestate is just a fancy way of saying died without a valid will. So it would go to your spouse or civil partner. If you do not have a spouse or civil partner, it goes to your children. Now, it is divided equally amongst your children. So if you have, let's say you have, for the sake of maths, let's say you have 3 children, okay? Each child is entitled to, so 1 child, 2 child, 3 child, each child is entitled to 33% each, because it's equal, okay? Now this is something that happens when, let's say you have a child that dies before you do. So this child died, but he had 3 children of his own. His share would be divided equally amongst his children, but obviously their share would go to them. Following me? If you've got any problems or questions, just go in the comments and I'll reply to you. Okay, so let's say you don't have any children, then it would go to your grandchildren. It's kind of like the same thing with the children divided equally amongst the grandchildren. Generally, once you get to this point, you won't have any sort of family left, because people tend to outlive their parents. But let's say you die when you're young, let's say you're 20 and you die, right? Chances are that you don't have a spouse, children, or grandchildren. So that would be when your parents come in. So your parents would inherit all of your assets. If your parents are dead, you have no spouse, no children, no grandchildren, then it goes to your siblings, brother, sister, however many you have. Again, very similar to the children, it's divided equally amongst everyone. Generally, once you get to this point, when someone is administrating your estate, they will ask for something called a grant of probate. So a grant of probate. This is basically just a letter from the government saying this person is allowed to inherit the estate. It's a government document that says this person is entitled to it. So if there's ever a big argument about, oh no, I want this, I want this, I want this, this sorts it out. Now, if you have no siblings, step siblings, again, simple, then it would go to your grandparents. If this doesn't exist, this doesn't exist, this doesn't exist, your parents are dead, you got no brothers or sisters, you got no step brothers or sisters, and your grandparents are still alive, then it would go to them, aunts, uncles. It's quite self-explanatory. Let's say you do not have a will, you do not have a spouse, you don't have any children, no grandchildren, no parents, no siblings, no step siblings, no grandparents, no aunts and uncles, and no half aunts and uncles. So everyone, you don't have any family at all. Then every single bit of money in your estate, everything that you're worth, goes to the Crown, or goes to HMRC, goes to the government. You don't want that. If, for example, you are in this situation where you have no surviving family, write a will, because then at least you can say, I want my money to go to children in need, or I want my money to go to cancer research or something like that. A will is the most important thing. There are so many horror stories about people dying without a will and no spouse, and they've got like 5 children, but 2 of the children don't get along, and 1 of them lives in Australia, and it's a whole mess because you've got to divide it up equally. you're going to have to pay a load of solicitor fees because they're going to be the ones that are administering the estate, and it's going to get very, very, very expensive. All of this is subject to something called, I'll do it down here so the light doesn't, it's called IHT. It stands for inheritance tax. You might have heard a little bit about it with obviously King Charles now, used to be Prince Charles, is King Charles now. He's got, he avoids it actually, that's another thing. But inheritance tax is basically, you just got to pay some tax when someone dies. So a lot of people, they use things like trusts or gift trusts and stuff like that, but that's a whole other video as well. But all of this is part of the estate, and when something forms part of the estate, is subject to inheritance tax. So, long story short is write a will, because if you don't, you will regret it, because potentially you don't have a will, you don't have a spouse, your children don't like you, it's not going to be good. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to help. But yeah, I'm 24K Greenwell, and yeah, Mandem, stay focused.